Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and yesterday Rhino Prime and Nyx Prime got unvaulted from the Prime Vault, which means you can now farm their relics in-game, and in this video I'm basically going to be showing you guys how to, and also giving you guys some tips for how to efficiently farm them in endurance runs in the Void. For a lot of new players, the Void is kind of unexplored territory, simply because there's not that much of a reason to do like a big endurance runs in the Void unless you're cracking open relics because there is an orc in defense, or because you're farming for Argon crystals, right? So for a lot of players, they don't really do big long runs in the Void, and that, in my opinion, is probably going to be one of the most fun ways to farm these relics. So it's going to be a very exciting 2 months for me whenever it comes to teaching players how to actually do these runs, because in my opinion it's some of the hardest content in the game, simply because the enemy types are so diverse and stuff like that. So before we jump into it, you guys have 2 months to actually farm these relics, and you can check the time remaining on the unvaulting by simply going to your market and then going right here. And then you can see up here, it says 57 days, 11 hours, and 47 minutes remaining. So practically 2 months, just a little less. But yeah, you can also go ahead and buy all of the packs. I would recommend, if you're going to buy anything, buy the Nyx pack, because I think it's the most value for money. Simply because, like, Nyx is a pretty okay defense frame. She gets outclassed by other frames like Loki and stuff like that, because their CC is a lot better, but she still has pretty solid CC for newer players. The Sindo is a solid heavy weapon, so is the Haiku. It's a solid secondary. The Target's armor is the best looking armor in this entire unvaulting lineup. But yeah, other than that, the rest is kind of mess, so glyphs doesn't really matter that much. And then your Sugatra, in my opinion, doesn't matter too much. Some people might be crazy about these things, but personally, I'm not. You also get a nice 400 platinum, and that's all for £27, which isn't too bad. Rhino, he's more of a all-around frame. He's a buffer, he's a tank, he's a CC. So if you're looking for a well-rounded frame, Rhino is probably your way to go. Bolter is also a very, very, very good weapon, especially versus armored enemies. So if you want a good weapon, then go ahead and pick that up. The Sayandana is, in my opinion, not that great, and the Extractor isn't anything to write home about. The Platinum's nice, but other than that, Nyx Prime accessories, Nyx Prime pack is what I would recommend, and in my opinion, those are kind of the go-tos, unless you're going to be buying the Jewel pack. The Jewel pack is, I would say, pretty worth it as well. 1.2k Platinum, all the weapons, all the frames, and all the cosmetics is pretty nice, but in my opinion, this Sayandana is meh, and also, like, I mean, Anarchist Prime is meh as well, and yeah, I don't know. Distillant Extractor just isn't too appealing to me, but that's what this video is for. I'm going to show you guys how to farm all of the stuff for free. So if we head over to the Codex, and we go to Universe, and then we go to Relics and Arcanes, we can type in the top left-hand corner the names of the relics that were released, right? So we have the Lif B4. So Lif B4 is a relic that drops the Anarchos Prime Blueprint, a Forma Blueprint, the Nyx Prime Blueprint, Rhino Prime Neuroptics Blueprint, a Sindo Prime Blueprint, and a Bolter Prime Blueprint. So it drops from a relic pack from the syndicates and all of these places right here. So Ani, Hepit, Strybog, Taranis, Teship, and Taiwaz. I'll have a link in the description below that actually shows the drop chances of all of the relics. So it's just in a little pastebin link. All you have to do is read it, and then it'll show you where the best place to kind of farm is, type of thing. I'd recommend just doing endurance runs that have like a majority of the relics, but with this little pastebin thing, you can kind of decide for yourself which node you want to do, like which one you find most fun: survival, interception, defense, because they more or less, you know, give the same stuff, and they're all going to do the same stuff as well. Like the same enemies are going to spawn, just like if you're doing a lower level one, like I think it's Teship, that's the lower level defense. Like fewer enemy types are going to spawn in at the beginning, and they're going to be lower level, right? So it might take a little while to kind of wind up. So if you have leftover standing for your syndicates, I recommend going to them and purchasing the relic packs, because that's how I got some of these ones that I have already. So I have 2 Lift B4, which is pretty good. I haven't even started farming them yet. I'm going to be doing that today on my Twitch live stream, and I'm also going to be giving away 2 Limo Prime Access and 2,000 Platinum on my live stream today. So the link will be down in the description there, and that will be live as soon as you guys see this video go live, so 9 a.m. BST. So I'll be live for 8 hours, and I'll be giving away the the plat and the limbo prime accesses and stuff like just throughout the day, so every couple hours. So jump in. All you have to do is type in chat. There's no special requirements. You don't have to be a sub. You do have to be following though. If you're not following, then you don't get the win. But follow the channel, type in chat at least once, and then there you go, you get entered into the giveaway. It's pretty simple. But other than that, let's continue on. Next up is the Meso N6. The Meso N6. There we go. So this drops the Bolter Prime Blueprint, the Haiku Prime Pouch, the Rhino Prime Chassis Blueprint, the Cinder Prime Handle, Nyx Prime Neuroptics Blueprint, and it drops from pretty much the same places: Annie, Belanus, Oxymoko, Strybog, Taranis, Taiwaz, and Ukko, or yeah, Ukko in the Void. So I have 2 of those as well. And then next up we have a Neo Relic, and it is the Neo R1. So Neo R1 drops the Anarchus Prime Gauntlet, a Haiku Prime Blueprint, Bolter Prime Receiver, Nyx Prime Chassis Blueprint, a Rhino Prime Blueprint, and it drops from Annie, Aten, Belanus, Marduk, Murpha, Mott, Oxymoko, and Ukko. And then last but not least, we have an Axii Relic, and it is the Axii, is that S3? Axii S3. Axii S3, and that drops the Bolter Prime Stock, the Haiku Prime Stars, Rhino Prime Systems Blueprint, the Anacrus Prime Blade, Nyx Prime Systems Blueprint, and the Sindo Prime Blade. So what I would recommend is don't actually go out of your way to farm Rhino or Nyx within these next 2 months, right? If you want to, like if you want to kind of go at it really hard, what I would recommend is do nothing but farm the relics for the next 2 months, and then do rad shares with people after all the relics are gone, right? Because if you have a massive stockpile of those relics, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to host rad share lobbies and then go ahead and radiate the relics in your little void kiosk thing back here. So if we type in like Rhino Prime, Rhino Prime, is it B4? Yeah, lift B4. We type in Rhino, right? What we can do is we can go ahead and radiate this, and then we have a better chance of having a Bolter Prime Blueprint. So you're basically wanting to make like a massive stockpile of radiant relics, and then if you go out of your way to kind of do rad shares with players, you can have a massive stockpile of a bunch of sets for these items, and then you can have your own Bolter Prime, your own Nyx Prime, Sindo, Anacrus, Rhino, whatever, and then you can also have leftover sets which you can sell for platinum, because once these get vaulted again after the 2-month period, the price is going to go back up again, right? Especially for certain things that are a little bit hard to farm. So if you go out of your way to have a bunch of the relics, and then once all of the relics are gone, farm up a bunch of sets, like literally use all the relics, make them radiant, and then just like knock out of the park with a bunch of other players who also have radiant relics, then you can have a bunch of sets just lying around which you can sell for platinum, which they're just going to go up in price until the next unvaulting comes, right? Once these frames get unvaulted again, or they get given away in Twitch or whatever, they're going to keep on going up in price until something like that happens. So, you know, it's pretty simple. It's a pretty easy way to make platinum as well. What I'd recommend doing if you want to sort of make the most, if you're doing a run like a defense run, bring a CC frame, something like Nova, maybe Loki, a damage dealer frame, a defensive frame, and a Trinity, right? So Trinity is going to keep your energy up with your squad. So that is a energy vampire Trinity. The build will look a little bit like this. So this is my Umbral energy vampire Trinity, so we don't have to go super over the top like I did and have Umbral mods and form it 5 times, but the general consensus is have range, so overextended stretch, a lot of power strength, and negative duration, and then that way you're going to be giving a lot of energy to your entire team. You can also use your blessing to restore the entire team's health, which is awesome. So that's your kind of support role, and then have a CC frame. So what I'd recommend is either Nova or a Radiant and Disarm Loki, right? So what you could do is there's 2 ways you could play it. You could play it with a Speed Nova, right? So a Speed Nova could speed up the waves of the defense, so you're farming a lot faster, you're farming more efficiently. So a Speed Nova build will look a little bit like this, okay? So that's if you're really good at the game and you have a really good setup, you have a really good grip. So that's negative power strength. That's going to speed all the enemies up so you can farm more efficiently. And then if you're not so good at the game and you just need to slow the enemies down, you use a slow Nova build, and that'll look a little bit something like this. So you have to have at least 145% power strength, and then put the rest of your stats into duration and efficiency. That way you can cast, and your M Prime is going to cover basically the entire map. And then last but not least, well, actually not last but not least, you would have your Frost frame, or like any defensive frame, and then you just have them constantly casting Snow Globe 24/7, making sure that no enemy or no final nullifier is kind of touching the snow globe. If they're constantly casting, then that means no one is going to be able to get near the pod. No melee enemies are going to be able to get you. So you just stay within the bubble, and then no enemy should be able to touch you, implying no nullifiers get to you. So that's why I'd recommend using something like a high fire rate secondary, such as the Cyanoid Gamma Core, Axamati, etc., because those will be used to burst the nullifier bubbles so they don't put your snow globe down. And then you would have a damage dealing frame, right? So a damage dealing frame would be someone like Octavia, Equinox, Saren, anything that you think is efficient. So we used to run Mag way back in the day whenever this was a thing, but Equinox is a pretty solid choice right now if you just want to like literally kill everything that comes near you. Use a meme build, so that's like a buttload of range, and then just a little tiny bit of power strength. You don't need a lot because you're going to be stacking that damage up as you play type of thing, so you don't need a bunch of power strength, but you could use Saren, a ranged Saren build, which will look a little bit like this, and then that way you cast your spores on the enemy whenever they spawn, then you cast your 4, and then you're kind of just like killing everything, and your damage is scaling upwards, which is pretty awesome too, which will definitely help out a lot, especially if someone DCs and you lose out in a cruiser projection, because having cruiser projection will put your team a very long way ahead, because that completely takes armor scaling out of the equation. So there's no armor in the enemies, so you can mod for radiation damage, you can mod for viral damage, and then you're going to be resisting enemies maximum health, right? So that's a big plus. So you'd be modding for viral. If you're using something like the Tigris Prime, for example, the Tigris Prime would look a little bit like, let me see if I can show you a build. Here we go. Tigris Prime would look a little bit like this, and then viral radiation, and then you have like crazy numbers of slash damage on there. So slash damage would deal a lot of damage as well, because they don't have any resistances to it. The only thing that you really have to look out for is enemy shields, but even at that, if you have viral damage, those shields shouldn't be that big of a problem, because you're going to be killing the enemy kind of through their shields, right? Because their health isn't too huge. So there's that. And then you also have weapons like your rifles, right? So your rifles, any crit rifle, you're going to be running like Hunt Munitions viral combination, which will look a little bit like this, and then you're going to be running Prime Bane Corrupted, or Prime Shred, or Bladed Rounds, or whatever. Even Argon Scope can fit on there, or another element if you're struggling a little bit. So you'd have like Ferment Rounds on there instead, which will increase your status chance, and yeah, give you more fire damage, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, Prime Bane Corrupted will get you the furthest. It's like the best for your damage, but you know, having another element on there, it definitely works too. So you're looking for a support frame, you're looking for Trinity, you're looking for defensive frame, which is like Gara, Frost, Limbo, etc. You're looking for a CC frame, which is Nova, maybe Loki, you know, anything that can CC, maybe even a Rhino if you don't have any of that. And then you want to have your DPS frame, which is your Octavia, your Saren, your Equinox, your Mesa, stuff like that. And then that is, in my opinion, a pretty good setup for defense missions and stuff like that. You can more or less do the same with what's it called missions, with survival missions, except you're gonna have to swap one of the frames out. I recommend swapping the Frost out. Swap the Frost out for Necros, and then that way you're gonna be able to stay in the survival for a lot longer. Make sure that you and your team, if you are doing the survival, all stay in the one room, and stay in a big room where the enemies are gonna spawn a lot. So there's like a cross section room where it's kind of like a big plus symbol. If you stay in there, then the enemies will be coming from every single direction. And if you just do like a slide crit melee or something, so let's say for example you're using an Atarax, right? You're using an Atarax build to look kind of like this. These slash procs will be doing most of the work here in terms of the damage, or you can use something which will just give you more sort of base damage that will look a little bit like this. So higher base numbers on the slide attack is this type of build, but then more damage over time is this type of build here. Or you can go out of your way and try to roll like a slide crit Riven, and then have something insane like the Skoliak right here, where you have like an insane Riven where you have more slide crit, etc. Or you can even go out of your way to have a really cool Zaw. So this here is my current Zaw at the minute, called I'm Top Damage. I'll have a video coming out about this soon, and this basically gives range, electric damage, and more slide crit, which is awesome as well. So that's just a slide crit, and that'll basically like wipe up any single enemy that's there. If you really wanted to as well, you could run a condition overload build. I have that on my other Zaw, which is the one called Pineapple Pizza, because the damage is disgusting. So this is your builds. You can run the Legion. There's a bunch of different stuff that you could run. So this is kind of a makeshift condition overload build that I had at the minute. So yeah, there is a lot. So have fun farming stuff and the things, guys, in the void. Like I said, there's a link in the description below to a paste bin that will show you all the drop locations and all of the drop chances. And I'm also going to be live or twitch.tv as soon as you guys see these or see this video. And I'm going to be doing exactly what I just explained, like doing the defense runs, doing the survival runs with a good grip, using 4x cruiser projection, modding for viral damage, and farming the crap out of these void survival, void defenses, and stuff like that. So I hope to see you guys there. Limited Prime Access giveaway, 2,000 Platinum giveaway over in the live stream. I'm going to be doing it spread out over the 8 hours that I'm live. And yeah, there's multiple Limbo Prime Access, and I'll probably do the 2,000 Platinum, 1,000 Platinum instead of just 2,000. So 2 1,000s. And yeah. So other than that, guys, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.